Week 4 is in the books with a lot of dancers that improved, and we've seen a lot of surprises last night. We've got our first night of the season, while we got, and I'm calling this one, the Unexpected 10, as well as the mistake during the elimination. So let's get into it. How's it going, guys? It's Eric Sharkey, aka Dance with Stars Superfan, back with another video, and in today's video we will be recapping week 4 that happened last night. Everything was going according to plan as usual until in the end, the mistake that outraged a lot of Dancing with the Stars fans. I mean, a lot. Also, if you guys are new to the channel, and if you guys like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, and smash that like button, and also turn on post notifications to get notified about my latest Dancing with the Stars content video. So without further ado, let's get started. First up is Nelly and Daniella dancing the Paso Doble to All I Do Is Win by DJ Khaled. Derek really enjoyed it and is admiring Nelly's guns, but Nelly needed better shaping. Bruno appreciated that it had no restraint, no holding back, but he needs to refine his artistry. CHERYL said that is what she was looking for and there were no missteps, but she agrees that he needs to improve his shaping. Even though he had a little trouble with his shaping, it was still considered his breakout dance so far. He was open and he had great power during the Paso Doble. So judges' scores are, they were all 7s from the judges, his first 7s, giving them a score 21 out of 30. Next up is CHRISHELL and GLEB dancing the Foxtrot to Adore You by Harry Styles. Bruno called it almost too hot to trot, and she put GLEB in his place, and there was a stumble in the middle after a really great start. CHERYL is proud of her and is impressed by the points of her hands and feet. Derek didn't even see the stumble while the other judges saw the stumble. He even thought it was her best dance. Even though CHERYL and Bruno noticed the misstep and not Derek, it was still considered a good dance, and she is starting to come out of her shell. So judges' scores are, CHERYL a 7, Derek an 8, Bruno a 7, giving them a score 22 out of 30. Next up is Monica and Val dancing the samba to Party in the USA by Miley Cyrus. CHERYL loved the chemistry and balance between them, and their dancing improved greatly. Derek called it a proper samba with lots of great samba content, and it was her best dance. Bruno says she threw a party, and he also loved that it was a proper samba with all the required elements. I would have to say it was by far her best dance so far, and I really love the samba content and everything that went with it. So judges' scores are, they were all 8s from the judges, giving them a score 24 out of 30. Next up is Ann and Keo dancing the Paso Doble to Rise by Katy Perry. Derek thought she was sturdy and in control, and he appreciates the progress she made. Bruno admires her courage as a multicolored warrior, the most focused performance of today despite some balance problems. CHERYL considers her inspiring and powerful. That was by far her best dance so far, and she and Keo have redeemed themselves from last week. I also like her intro in the beginning because it makes me feel like she was the beast coming out of her shell. So judges' scores are, they were all 7s from the judges, giving them a score 21 out of 30. Next up is Neve and Jenna dancing the rumba to Because You Love Me by Celine Dion. Bruno thought it was a romantic dream set to music, and they were in tune. CHERYL thought he supported his partner, but added poetry with beautiful lines. Derek also thought it was beautiful, with great texture and his in-between movements, but it was hard to find the timing in it. Neve is actually starting to become one of my favorites this season. He's been getting better and better each dance as the weeks go on, which is pretty good. As long as he keeps doing what he's doing, he'll get farther in the competition. So judges' scores are, they were all 8s from the judges, giving them a score 24 out of 30. Next up is Justina and Sasha dancing the salsa to Que Viva la Vida by Wisin and Yandel. CHERYL says this is the first time she got them all up off their feet, and it felt like CHERYL was at Justina's house. Derek thought Justina brought all the authentic energy that was lacking last week. Bruno tells her she was on fire and those hips don't lie. Just like in week 1, during her first dance, she was the surprise of the night, but for this week was her best dance so far and redeemed herself from last week. So judges' scores are, they were all 8s from the judges, giving them a score 24 out of 30. Next up is KAITLYN and ARTEM dancing the Viennese Waltz to Beautiful Crazy by Luke Combs, one of my favorite country songs. This dance was dedicated to her boyfriend Jason. Derek thought she was elegant and effortless, but he hopes to see her in a different style of dance from these slower romantic numbers. Bruno compliments the flexibility in her back and arms, and he's also eager to see her in a different dance style next week. CHERYL thinks she's been an excellent dancer since day 1, and this was a loving routine that worked beautifully. Ever since I watched that dance, I was smiling from ear to ear, and KAITLYN and ARTEM are definitely one of the people to watch this season. So judge scores are Carrie-Anne a 9, Derek an 8, Bruno an 8, giving them a score 25 out of 30. This marks the first 9 of the season. When I first saw that 9, I was like, wow! I was really surprised. But in a good way though. Next up is Johnny and Britt dancing the jive to Crocodile Rock by Elton John. Bruno said Johnny is at full throttle, you were exploding out there, it was like seeing the real you, but he needs to work on retracting his feet during his flicks and kicks. Carrie-Anne thought it was incredible and everything about it was fantastic. Derek felt like he opened up and let us in when he often seemed reined in on the dance floor. That was another good dance by them. The judges are really proud of him that he's getting better and better each week. I felt like it was a tiny bit rough at times, but it didn't matter to them whatsoever. So judge scores are, they were all 8s from the judges, giving them a score 24 out of 30. Next up is Jeannie and Brandon dancing the tango to Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. Carrie-Anne would not bet against her with all that fire and all that passion. Although the end of the dance got a little wobbly, Derek loved the first drop, the attitude was spot on despite the little slip up. Bruno loves the way Jeannie can switch her personality from dance to dance, and it worked extremely well. Even though they made a couple mistakes, it was still considered a good dance. The judges' scores are, they were all 7s from the judges, giving them a score 21 out of 30. Next up is Vernon and PETA dancing the rumba to Let's Stay Together by Al Green. Derek said the dance brought him joy, but he needs to pay more attention to his arms. Bruno thinks he moves better and better every week, and he got those hips rotating, but he doesn't quite get his extensions right. He needs to extend from his back, not his shoulders. Carrie-Anne said, I don't think we were looking at the arm motions, and she thinks he understands the momentum of the dance. Vernon is actually starting to get better and better as the weeks go on. He had great hip action, but he needs to start doing certain moves with his back instead of his arms. But other than that, it was a good dance. So judges' scores are Carrie-Anne an 8, Derek a 7, Bruno a 7, giving them a score 22 out of 30. Next up is Jesse and Sharna dancing the cha-cha to Smooth by Santana featuring Rob Thomas. Bruno said, Jesse, you drive me crazy, but he didn't quite have the timing or the hip action, and he doesn't feel like he's quite there yet. Carrie-Anne thinks his musicality has improved, but he doesn't have the ease that he shows in the clip packages. There's something there that we're just trying to pull out. Derek thought he has improved, but he needs to avoid speeding up when he gets nervous. I know a lot of the fans are eager to get to know him a little better in a deeper setting, but that was slightly better than last week. His musicality slightly improved. His timing, his hips, and his eye contact needed more work, but it was slightly better than last week. So judges' scores are, they were all 7s from the judges, giving them a score 21 out of 30. Next up is Sky and Alan dancing the foxtrot to Ordinary People by John Legend, a dance tribute to her former co-star and close friend, Cameron Boyce. Carrie-Anne was emotional and had to let Derek start off with the critiques. Derek thought it was the best routine of the night and her necklace was gorgeous. Carrie-Anne is sure that Cameron is proud of her because she danced like an angel and it was sheer perfection. Bruno said she's back in top form, that was stunning, and the poise was literally regal. Now that's what I call redemption. From that stumble from their samba from 2 weeks ago to giving it her all this week. And Cameron, this dance was for you, buddy. For the judges' scores are Carrie-Anne a 10, Derek a 9, Bruno a 9, giving them a score 28 out of 30. I never expected Carrie-Anne to give them a 10, but I'll take it, by the way. Last up is AJ and CHERYL dancing the cha-cha to his group Backstreet Boys number, Larger Than Life, featuring his Backstreet Boys members dancing with him virtually. Derek says, Backstreet's back, alright! And it was a pleasure to watch. Although he needs to work on his footwork, Bruno thought it was very effective, but he needs to work on the cha-cha part. Carrie-Anne says he's a natural entertainer, but he needs to watch his elbows, which were a little weak. 2 words I have to say about this dance, that was a showstopper. I think it's really cool that they include the Backstreet Boys virtually, and I never imagined that they would do something like this, but they made it work. Even though he had some problems with the dance, with the cha-cha parts into it, but it didn't matter to them because it was a great way to end the night. So the judges' scores are, they were all 8s from the judges, giving them a score 24 out of 30. Now that we got to the dances, as usual, let's take a look at the leaderboard from last night. At the top of the leaderboard are Sky and Alan with 28 points, KAITLYN and ARTEM at second with 25 points, and a 5-way tie for third with 24 points, Monica and Val, Justina and Sasha, AJ and CHERYL, Neve and Jenna, and Johnny and Britt. Vernon and PETA and CHRISHELL and GLEB tied with 22 points, and a 4-way tie with 21 points, Anne and Keo, Jeannie and Brandon, Jesse and Sharna, and Nelly and Daniella. Now let's get to the best dances of the night. To be honest, there were a lot of them. I'm gonna say Sky and Alan, KAITLYN and ARTEM, Neve and Jenna, and Johnny and Britt. The improvements of the night are Monica and Val, Anne and Keo, Nelly and Daniella, and AJ and CHERYL. And lastly, the redemption dance of the night is without a doubt Sky and Alan. Now we are going to announce the couples who are safe and will be dancing next week. The couples who are safe are Sky and Alan, Johnny and Britt, Jeannie and Brandon, AJ and CHERYL, KAITLYN and ARTEM, Jesse and SHARNA, Neve and JENNA, JUSTINA and SASHA, NELLY and DANIELLA, CHRISHELL and GLEB, and VERNON and PETA. While the bottom two are Monica and Val, and Anne and Keo. There was an error while they were announcing the results. At first they announced Monica and Val safe, but moments later, she was announced that she was in the bottom two and had to call her back to the stage. Just like Bruno said, it happens in the UK of Dancing with the Stars, which is Strictly Come Dancing. I don't know if it was Tyra's fault or not, which I don't believe it was her fault. I feel like it was an honest error that the other producers made. It looks to me like she didn't take it very well, actually. I didn't know what was going on at first, but moments later they told us that there was an error with the results. But the good news is they fixed it and they were able to get things done, but a little too quickly because it was live TV. And they didn't even give Derek a chance to explain to himself which couple would he like to save, but he quickly said, I'll tell you guys in a little bit. Carrie-Anne and Derek vote to save Monica and Val. It's okay, they were going to call her safe anyways, while Anne and Keo were eliminated. The bright side is that Keo lasted through the first and second elimination. At least he had a partner who showed some potential. Overall, I'm really proud of those two who ended on a high note. At first when they announced Anne and Keo, I thought they were going to be safe, but then moments later, because of that error, she told them that they were at the bottom two, and they were eliminated, which outraged Anne. Despite the error near to the end of the show, I guess Tyra is going to get a talking to. I liked the first dress that she was wearing, but everyone didn't like her second outfit because it didn't look good on her whatsoever. The first half started off as normal, but it ended pretty messy because of the error. I kind of figured Monica would be at the bottom two at some point early in the season because she's pretty much an unrecognizable person besides the Netflix show Cheer. So we'll just have to wait and see because I feel like her fan base is actually not as strong compared to the other contestants that season. So my choices on who will be at the bottom two next week are Monica and Val, Jesse and SHARNA, or Nelly and Daniella, but we'll just have to wait and see. So next week on Dancing with the Stars, like I said in my previous Dancing with the Stars episode recap, it will be 80s night, so stay tuned for next week. And that'll do it for this video, so let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Who was your favorite dancer of that night, or do you think will be eliminated next week? So let me know in the comments down below on your thoughts. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. This is Eric Sharkey, aka Dancing with the Stars Superfan. Catch you next time.